Welcome to the Little Beading Closet. I'm Sherry, and this is the Clover beading tutorial. Create a timeless, elegant bracelet with seed beads and 6mm round beads. This beading pattern uses size 15 seed beads, giving the illusion of fine jewelry. Its refined and polished look is a style that is here to stay. Let's take a look at the supplies and begin. So you can choose any 6mm round bead that you like. Along the edge, we're using size 15 seed beads. Just gives it a nice dainty finish. These are Duracoat galvanized gold by MIYUKI. And then we'll also need size 8 seed beads. The size 8 seed beads I'm using are TOHO Permafinish in the color 557. As always, I'm going to be using a size 12 beading needle, but in this case, working with the size 15s, it will really help. And also a Fireline crystal, 6-pound. I'll be using a 4mm very strong magnetic clasp for this bracelet. I'm going to begin by picking up one size 8 and then one 6mm bead and repeating that until I have all 4 of my 6mm beads on my needle. And pull this down near the end of the thread. Next, you're just going to want to tie this into a knot right here between a 6mm and size 8 seed bead. I'm going to go ahead and add 3 knots here, pulling tightly between each one. Next, I'm going to go through one of my size 6 beads and pull the knot into it. You should be able to pull tightly without the knot slipping through to the other side. You can also go through in one more 8 and one more 6 if you feel that your knot is not quite tight enough yet. Now that I'm pulling this very tightly and my knot's not slipping all the way through, I can cut off my tail and begin the next step. Again, we're going to be working with our size 8 seed beads, picking one up and coming into the next size 6mm round bead. And you're just going to be pulling your size 8 up here next to the one that you already have. So go ahead and repeat that all the way around. And now we have the size 8 seed beads stacked one on top of the other all the way around. I'm going to go ahead and come through one size 8 and one 6mm and into one more size 8. Now that we have this, we're ready to move on to the next step. Now, working with the size 15 seed beads, pick up 9 on your needle and pass into the next size 8. Again, 9 size 15 seed beads on your needle and into the next size 8. 9 of the size 15 seed beads into your next size 8. The last 9 size 15 seed beads and into the size 8. At this point, I'm going to needle through the next 5 size 15 seed beads and come out between the 5th and 6th. Pick up 3 of the size 15 seed beads, needle into the same size 15 that your thread is coming out of to add a right angle weave unit onto that one. Go ahead and needle down your 15s and through your next 8, needling through 5 of the size 15 seed beads. picking up the 3 size 15 and coming back through the size 15 down through the next 8. Continue adding a right angle weave unit on the 5th size 15 all the way around. I just added the last one here, and now I'm going to needle back down and through the next size 8. I want to come down here to the size 8 underneath it, so I'll just needle through there. For the size 15 seed beads, and needle into the point of my right angle weave unit right here. For the size 15 seed beads, into the next 8. 4 size 15 seed beads into the point right here. 4 the size 15 seed beads into the next 8. 4 of the size 15 seed beads into this point here of your right angle weave unit. 4 of the size 15 seed beads into the next 8, and 4 of the size 15 seed beads into the point here on this right angle weave unit. 4 size 15 seed beads into the size 8. To finish this off, I'm going to continue needling through a few more of the size 15 seed beads until I come around to the next 8. I'm going to add a half hitch knot here. Again, I'll come through a few of my 15s and down through the next size 8. Again, just adding a half hitch knot past the size 8 seed bead. And now I'm going to go ahead and needle up through my 15s to the right angle weave unit that attaches the two sides together. I'll go ahead and come through one of these size 15s just right here, the one that's sort of sandwiched between the top and bottom. I'm going to leave this thread on so I can attach this unit to the rest of my units here. To attach the unit you just made to another unit, you'll look here where they're connected with the right angle weave. We're going to be working with the two that are sitting side by side and the gap between the top and bottom. So I'm going to put 2 size 15 seed beads on my needle and come into the one beside. Now I'm going to just take my needle and go through the center between the two and under the thread. Pulling it tight. I'm going to then come into the size 15 here, sandwiched in the base, and up through one of the 15s I just added. Picking up 2 more 15s, come down into the other 15 here, getting your beads to sit side by side, needle up 2 of the 15s on the right. I think I'll be doing this one at a time. want a total of 3 sets added, so I'm going to pick up 2 more, come down and to the left, get those 2 sitting side by side on the end, and up 2 on the right. Again, I'm going to do these one at a time. Now I'll be connecting what I just made to the 2 size 15 seed beads sandwiched here between the top and bottom layer. So I'm going to needle into one of the size 15s, here, and then also into the 15 beside it, pulling this up here next to my existing work. Nothing's tight at this point, so you can see where my thread's going. I'm going to come into the size 15 and go ahead and pull this down. Coming out of this 15 here, needle into the 15 just beside it, back down through it, and the 15 on the base of your existing unit there. And again, I'm going to come up through the 15 here and into a few of the ones that link them together. Coming out of one on the coming out of this 15 on this side, I'll needle into the corresponding 15 on the other side. I came down 2 beads. I'm just going to go back and forth a few times, making sure this is nice and secure. And once you feel that you've gone through enough times and have it secure, you can finish with a half hitch knot. After I add a half hitch knot, I like to needle through 1 more bead, and then I think I'll come up the other side a few. It doesn't have to be 1, 2, 3, or 4, just however many you make it through. And again, I'll add 1 more half hitch knot over here. I'm ready to trim off my tail. I'm just going to cut it close to my beadwork. To attach my clasp, I'm starting with about a foot of thread on a needle. I'm going to needle through this right angle weave unit to start attaching my thread for the clasp. Just retracing it. Doing this really secures it to the end unit without having to add a lot of knots. Once I've retraced that right angle weave unit, I'm going to needle through my 15s and size 8 and work my way up to the right angle weave unit here on the very end. I'll be attaching my clasp a lot like I did for the links between the units. So pulling my thread through this middle 15, 1 15, and my clasp, and 1 more 15. I'm coming out of this 15 here. I'm going to needle into the opposite direction of the 15 beside it and pull this all next to my work. Again, I want to needle through the middle where there are no beads, coming out the other side, I'll needle into the 15 on the base, and 115 above it. I do want my clasp to sit between the two 15s as much as possible. I'll needle back through the clasp and down the two 15s on this side. Maybe one at a time. And then through the 15 here on the base. I'm going to retrace that thread path one more time, and you can see there's two 15s here on this side and two on the other. Now I'm going to come into the 15 that makes the top of the right angle weave unit and the 15 beside it, because what I'd like to do is needle down to this 8 and add a half hitch knot on my way to the next right angle weave unit. As I come down here, I'm going to add a half hitch knot right there next to the 8. And then needle up these beads until I get to the right angle weave unit here. Again, I want to retrace this right angle weave unit. One time here. Through the 15 at the top of it. Almost finished. I just want to needle down past this 8 and add another half hitch knot. I feel that the thread is very secure now, and I just want to go through a bead or two, pulling my thread and then trimming it off. And I'll trim off the excess from where I started. I went ahead and attached the clasp to my other end and completed the Clover bracelet. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial and have a beautiful day.